Hey there, and welcome back on my YouTube channel, Parth Doshi Learning by Doing. So, today we have someone with us who definitely does not require any introduction. As you can already see, we have Lahiru. But yeah, he has been my mentor. He has guided me in my RPA journey. Not only me, but we won't be able to count the number of people he has inspired or he has guided in their RPA journey to learn UI path, maybe career guidance, and many other things. We have seen him in many UiPath sessions. He's UiPath MVP as well. So yeah, definitely does not require any introduction for this video. But yeah, okay. So welcome Lahiru for this video, for talking on this video and accepting my collaboration invitation. So guys, today in this video, we'll be talking about RPA Solution Architect. What are their roles and responsibilities? How someone can become a solution architect. Rahilu will be sharing his journey as well. He'll be talking what are the roles and responsibilities prerequisite. Maybe like number of years of experience a person requires to be an RPA solution architect and many other things. So let's learn from the expert. Okay, welcome Lahiru.
Thank you very much, Fad, and thanks for the nice introduction. Happy to
Yeah.
be a part of this video.
So yeah, please you can start with how you are into RPA and share your journey.
Okay, yeah, so I started my journey in 2011 after
Mm-hmm,
completing my university degree
mm-hmm.
in software engineering.
Okay,
Then I joined a company as an intern, and from there, I moved into the data science
okay.
domain.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, I have been in that domain for quite a long time, for about 8 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Uh, and while I was there, because I had that software engineering background, I was
mm-hmm.
able to do some software developments as well. But main focus was into data science and business intelligence most of the time.
Okay, okay.
And while being there, I had this interest to robotics, machine learning,
Uh-huh.
AI. So those were kind of
Mm-hmm.
like my favorite areas.
Right.
So that domain also helped in some scenarios because there was some machine learning stuff as well when it comes to data analytics.
Mm-hmm.
But over the time, actually, at the beginning of last year, 2019,
Okay.
mm, at that time, my company, I worked at Pixel. So at the time, they wanted to get the partnership with UiPath, and
Okay.
then the
Mm-hmm.
management announced us to take the certification and try to
Mm-hmm.
complete it as soon
Okay.
as possible. So then only I actually heard
Mm-hmm.
what's RPA. I know about those physical robots that move here and there, do various kind
Mm-hmm.
of stuff, but I haven't heard about the software robots at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started working or learning from UiPath Academy.
So you started in 2019.
Yeah,
Okay.
2019 January.
Okay. I think no one watching this video right now will believe it. But yeah. Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so after that, I was quickly able to capture the entire
Mm-hmm.
concept, and I just completed the certification just within 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
uh, from knowing nothing.
Okay.
And since then, I really liked what's being taught there and how things are
Mm-hmm.
done and all these automation stuff. So because I had that interest as well, and
Right.
then I
Hmm. Yeah.
okay, so because I had that interest, I really wanted to learn more around that.
Right.
And then I moved into the forum
Mm-hmm.
and started by looking at what people are doing, what kind of problems
Mm-hmm.
people are facing while
Right.
doing
Right.
their automations. So the forum was the second most uh, important thing that I
Hmm.
came across during my
Right.
journey, because it helped me a lot to gain the experience and basically a lot
Right.
of things.
Right. 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 Right.
So just by asking questions and answering people, I was
Hmm.
able to learn a lot of things, and from that, I to get the work experience,
Hmm.
I started on my own projects, because at the time,
Right.
uh, though we had the partnership with UiPath in the previous company, it was just the beginning.
Right.
So we had to find our own things to get the experience.
Right. Right.
So because of that, I did a lot of projects on my own. It's not for any commercial use or anything like that.
Right.
After reading from the forum and through other resources, I realized that I should try out something like that.
Right.
And that's how I actually got the real experience.
Hmm.
And while I was doing all those things, being in the forum helped me to uh,
Right.
connect with a lot of people
Hmm.
and find a lot of friends. So
Hmm.
that actually helped, because they were also after connecting and getting to know each other, just like
Right.
you,
Right.
people started asking questions, and
Hmm.
I also started researching on different stuff. So
Right.
the good thing is I actually had the opportunity to connect with them and work on their projects, not officially or not for any payment or anything, just free
Right.
for me to learn.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
those were some real experience,
Hmm.
and that's how I started. And after about 1 year, towards the end of 2019, uh, I also published about 9 components in the marketplace, and that's based on what people have uh, really gone through and what kind of struggles they are having during their automations.
Hmm.
And considering all that, I published those.
Right. Right. Right.
And then towards the end of 2019, I got to know that there's an application opening for
UiPath MVP.
MVP.
Right. Right. Hmm.
Yeah, so by then I was also working on some real projects in the company as
Okay.
well. So
Okay.
it took some lot of time. So yeah, so that's how I am here today.
So, some things that I feel like we can learn from your journey, which you shared right now, like as a fresher as well. So, one thing, like as you said, you started in Jan 2019. So, like we see right now, many of the freshers saying we don't get the real world experience or something like that. So, like by looking at your journey, we can understand that like there are many resources available if we are able to put that much effort. So what people want is that I have found is they want instant results. Like I did one POC, I did one project, now I should get a good job. But I don't think like that is the scenario. Since you gave that much time in the forum, you met people, you learned from others mistake. Forum is basically that only. Like we learn from others mistake and we find many different ways of doing a particular thing. I recently had a post on that as well on LinkedIn. So one thing that, and it's not so, the main, I think the question that many people have is we don't get real world scenarios, but when we google, we mostly get what are the business use cases. So what I think the freshers can do is like build the dummy data. Now I don't think it is difficult to build the dummy data. I just open the Excel file, I start typing the data, and that's it. In 15 minutes I can have thousands row data available. So one thing to learn from your journey is that as well, like 1 year is enough to achieve many things if we are able to put that much of efforts in our learning and in our experience. So
Yeah,
that is
yeah, I agree with that, because at the time when I started, as I said earlier, we didn't have any commercial projects
exactly,
to work on,
exactly.
and I wanted to get experience, and I was looking for all the different resources I have.
Right.
Forum was the main thing, and from that I was able to connect with many other resources, because it's kind of like
Exactly.
a knowledge base.
Hmm. Right.
So through that, we can do a lot of amazing stuff.
Right, right. I have met most of the people like you, Sayed, Nisarg, Vibor, everyone through this particular community only. Either I was
Yeah.
sharing my knowledge by that time, either met you or someone like that. So like not most, but all of the people that I've met in the communities while sharing my knowledge or either while being active on forum and other mediums that we have. So yeah, this is super amazing journey of
Actually,
yours.
the start is difficult. So for
Obviously.
anything, the start is always
Right,
difficult,
right,
and you will struggle a lot. But if you put in enough effort and you have that passion towards that, you can
right,
do
right,
anything.
right. Okay, so now coming to the main topic of this video after your this amazing journey, I think people watching will be already motivated right now to see what's there more further in the video. Yeah. So my first question to you is the RPA Solution Architect. I think there's a course as well on this on academy.uipath.com. We'll put the link in the description as well for people to have the easy access. But I wanted to know what are the prerequisite for someone to become a RPA solution architect, like in number of experience, knowledge, or like what are that particular set of prerequisite or what you want to share for someone who is aspiring to be a RPA solution architect.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good question. So before answering that, I
Mm-hmm.
have one more important point to mention.
Yes, yes,
That
please.
is mainly around the solution architect role itself. So if we take that role by the definition, the architect, what that says is you're going to provide a solution, or like you're designing the solution
Mm-hmm.
for an existing problem.
Right, right.
So for you to provide that solution, you need to know different ways of achieving the final result,
Hmm.
and require a lot of knowledge and experience.
Right, right.
So now coming back to your question,
Mm-hmm.
to perform some task like that, you need to know how to develop a solution
Right.
while you are mastering your designing capabilities for a
Mm-hmm.
solution, because it's a totally different level. It's not developing something. You are basically saying that this is how you should develop it, and this is how the final result is, and this is how you are going to solve your problem.
Right. So it
So
is something like preparing the complete solution which will be developed by the developer. So it is like a
yes,
very important base for a some automation project.
yeah,
Right,
agree.
right. Yeah, please go ahead.
So to give that kind of a solution, from my experience, I would say uh, you should have at least 5 years of experience when it comes to RPA, either as a developer or as a senior engineer in
Mm-hmm.
RPA, because then you have worked on different projects
Right,
and you have different experience in
right,
handling certain scenarios,
right, right.
and that's what's needed
Uh,
mostly.
right. Because
And apart from,
yeah,
yeah, sorry.
yeah. So because I think the thing which you are saying we require that much kind of project experiences because many times the error handling part or the solution part is different for different automation projects. It's not like it's always going to be same for a particular web automation project, Excel automation, or Citrix automation or something like that. Since every time different scenarios can come, we the person needs that much experience.
Yeah. And with that experience, you also need some good level of problem solving skills.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you need to know the technology. Without
Yeah,
that,
of course.
yeah. And it's not just the usual things that we work on, but as you know, in UiPath, they release a lot of new things almost every month,
Right.
and sometimes on a weekly basis as well.
Right, right.
So you have to be updated on what's actually going on,
Exactly.
and what are the tools available to do certain things. Because sometimes I have come across scenarios where
Mm-hmm.
people, so the when it comes to the business,
Mm-hmm.
all of those guys are not technical, and they might not know what RPA is.
Right. Right.
So whenever they come across a problem, they will come to you and they will give a whole lot of details that I have this problem, I have this, that, and everything.
Hmm.
And sometimes RPA might not be the solution, but they might see it as a very huge problem, but just a simple thing can fix a lot of stuff.
Right. Right. Right.
So it's knowing, you have to know a lot of other things as well.
Right.
Um,
So it's not like
yeah,
only RPA knowledge is enough. If something other way around is possible, he should be able to propose that as well for a particular project.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
So this is, I can give you one example.
Mhm. Yes, please.
I was working with a client actually a couple of weeks back,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a problem
Mm-hmm.
where they were using a lot of manual effort, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are involved.
Okay.
So the scenario is they had a huge Excel sheet with
Mm.
for each and every project. That same Excel sheet has to be sent to different teams, and each team is updating a certain section of that Excel,
Mm-hmm.
and the final result gives you whatever the thing needed to complete that project, to hand it over to the guys who are actually delivering it.
Okay. Okay.
So when they came up and they said that this is my problem and I need this automated, so
Mm-hmm.
that someone doesn't need to sit there and send it across to multiple teams to verify that
Mm-hmm.
they have uh, filled in the data properly,
Right.
all those things. So that was the problem. But if you actually dig deep into it, and then
Mm.
we actually realized that it's not really a RPA solution, because as at the end what they need is something like a coordinating thing,
Right.
so that it
Right.
will
Right.
talk with team A, figure things out there, then talk to team B and team C and
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Right.
So to
Right.
do that, you don't need a robot.
Hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
can there are different other tools of to do those things.
Right. Like
Yeah.
using
So
a shared sheet or shared folder or something like that, maybe.
shared folder or SharePoint, there are different
Right.
applications
Right.
that
Right.
are
Right.
capable of doing those things. So we proposed a different solution, and they were happy with that, because there's
Great.
nothing actually to automate there because it's just a
Right.
coordinated thing.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why
Okay.
I said, apart from
Mm-hmm.
automation, you have to know some other things
Right.
as
Right.
well.
This is a great example to put explain that point in deep, like why other knowledge is as well required other than RPA. Okay. So
Yeah.
after this, the second question I would want to ask is like if there is a person who is a RPA solution architect in an organization, what are his roles and responsibilities basically? Roles, like we already know, he has to deliver that complete solution for a particular automation project, but like in more some few points, like what are his roles and responsibilities?
Yeah, usually the RPA solution architect would also do multiple roles, as I have seen.
Right.
Sometimes this solution architect could also be the lead, the team lead.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, he will also sometimes play a role along with
Mm-hmm.
the business analyst
Okay.
to actually capture the requirement.
Okay.
Because in the initial stage, when you are actually trying to understand a business process,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the developers who go there and talk to these people.
Right.
It's the architect who does that along with the business analyst.
Right. Right.
Why the architect need the support of business analyst is because architect is also a technical guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he might not have all the experience from the business side of
Right. Right.
it. So he needs the backing of business analyst,
Right.
And from the other hand, business analyst is not a techie. So for
Right,
him to come up with a proper solution, he needs a backing from the solution architect.
right,
He
right,
has the capability to give that.
right.
So usually in a project, the solution architect has multiple responsibilities. Like if you are starting a project, he will be a part of that requirement gathering
Mm-hmm.
and identifying basically identifying the problem and
Right.
providing a solution to that. So at that point where we actually create these PDDs and
Mm-hmm.
all those things at the beginning. So in the PDD, there is section for the to be process.
Right, right, right.
So that's not actually filled by just the business analyst.
Mm-hmm.
That that is a high level solution that you are showing there,
Right.
but that also has the backing from the solution architect. Actually, he's providing that, saying that
Mm-hmm.
this is the solution, and
Right.
that solution is also backed by the business analyst in
Mm-hmm.
terms of process standardization.
Right,
Because
right, right.
you're not just automating a process, you will
Mm-hmm.
also find ways to improve the process itself.
Right.
So it's a combination of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one main responsibility of a solution architect. And
Mm-hmm.
apart from that, when it comes to the development, he
Mm-hmm.
will be the guy who is most knowledgeable in the team
Mm-hmm.
on the technical side.
Right. That's why he acts as a team lead as well sometimes, like you mentioned.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But the difference is if it's not, I will say like this. I would not recommend a solution architect to be a developer because
Hmm.
he has a much wider scope to
Right.
cover. And being a developer, he will restrict himself to just development and he
Hmm.
will miss all those other things. Because when it comes to these projects, you have to maintain timelines, you have to make sure the code quality and all the other standards are met.
Right. Right.
All
Right.
those things has to be covered from the solution architect. But there will be other team leads who can make sure that other things are done when it comes to the developers.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a much wider scope when it comes to those code quality and all those things. And
Right.
mainly, he is the guy who is providing the solution. So actually, the solution is inside his head.
Right. Right.
And so when he come up with the solution
Mm-hmm.
for the developers to understand what they should develop, the next responsibility of a solution architect is to document that solution. And
Okay.
that's
Okay.
not just a big word document. The initial thing is he has to uh, draw that solution in a way, in a most detailed level,
Mm-hmm.
so that it can be easily understood by a developer.
Right.
And by looking at it, he should know if he takes this particular workflow, this is the input that you are getting, this is the output, and this is what's happening inside. That level of detail
Mm-hmm.
should be there.
Right. 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 Right.
And so mapping out that diagram and passing that knowledge to the
Mm-hmm.
developers
Right.
and
Right.
to the business analysts,
Mm-hmm.
all that is a part of the solution architecture.
Right. Right. And this kind of uh precision or this kind of thing can only come when he has proper experience in the industry.
Yes.
Right.
And also when he's looking into that much wider scope.
Right.
That's why I didn't recommend an architect to be a developer, because being a developer, he always is focused on developing a specific workflow
Right.
and fixing some sort of bugs, but there are a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things other than that.
Right. Right. So like the first point which you said, business analyst and sometimes the solution architect have to work along with each other. So one example of, according to me, one example can be like, so when a process is to be automated and that requirement gathering or the discussion phase is going on, the business analyst knows the overview of the project, like what is to be automated and all that, but the application or the website that is being used whether that is practically possible, the solution architects comes into that particular picture. Is that what you were trying to say?
Yes,
Yeah. So
that's one example. So from him to give a solution, and
mhm.
this is from my experience that I'm saying, because
Right, right,
I
right.
also play that solution architect role. Uh, so there are people from the business who come across and say, hey, I have this kind of automation to do. Can you give me an estimate?
Hmm.
And they just say that without showing any system that they are looking at, without giving any of the detail.
Right.
And you are supposed to give an estimate.
Mhm.
So you just can't give estimates like that. So you have to actually look at what they are doing, what kind of systems they are accessing, how they are accessing, whether it's remote or not, or whatever.
Right, right.
So that experience comes from the solution architect.
Right, right,
And
right, right.
based on what he see there,
Mhm.
then he slowly draws his solution inside his head, and later
Mhm.
he draws it in a big diagram.
Right, right. So now, so suppose I am a RP developer and right now a fresher. After I gain an industry experience of like suppose 5 6 years, like as I go ahead with that, if I want to switch into RPA solution architect, right, from being an RPA developer after 5 6 years, do you think is that a good idea, or like what does that switch require, or RPA developer or RPA team lead also good role in an organization for future?
Yeah, so you can't directly move into the solution architect level in any organization. It's
Okay.
not that you can't do that, but that's how these organizations work, every
Mm-hmm.
organization, because there are different levels.
Right, right,
So
right.
being a developer, then you slowly move as a senior dev,
Okay.
and then the team lead,
Mm-hmm.
and then slowly into that architect role.
Okay, so the flow is something like this: RPA developer, then senior RPA dev, then team lead, and then after then slowly to solution architect.
Yeah. And
Okay.
maybe in the middle, you might also have like a consultant kind of role, and it's again like a senior lead as well.
Huh.
And
A senior team
above
lead,
that
it
is
can be
like,
like senior team lead.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Great, great. This was also like quite insightful and informative. Now, last question: what are the challenges you think a RPA solution architect might face in his maybe roles and responsibilities, or main his career, something like that, or maybe what you had faced earlier?
Yeah, so being a solution architect is not easy because
Yes,
you have
obviously.
to face a lot of challenges.
Mhm.
Being a developer, it's just that you know that what are the tasks assigned to you, and you know
Uh,
how it should be
right.
developed, and
You
all
face
this
only
guidance is,
technical challenges being a developer.
yeah,
Hmm.
because you have a good management above you, good team lead who covers for you
Right,
and
right.
who handles all the other things so that you can focus on your task. But being the solution architect, you actually have to talk to different people
Mhm.
and to get things done. In my experience, mm, so when we started up, uh,
Mhm.
I was the solution architect,
Mhm.
and from the infrastructure side, we uh, didn't have that much of expertise because
Mhm.
for RPA we were starting up,
Right.
so everyone expected that I should provide that infrastructure support as well.
Mhm.
So I'm not an infra guy. I don't know much around that.
Uh-huh.
So it was difficult for me. So, but still, I had to learn how to do that infrastructure thing in UiPath and
Mhm.
RPA, because you have to do that, right? There's
Right,
no one
right.
else to do it. So that's one aspect of it. But when it comes to the business, as
Mhm.
I said, you are the one who is facing those business people, the process,
Right.
the guys who are doing that process. So they come up with various kind of issues, and they have their own ways of communicating. They have
Right.
their different ways of thinking. So people management
Right.
is another skill that you need,
Right. Right. Right.
because for you to convince them
Mhm.
that this has to be done in this way,
Right.
it's sometimes difficult.
Right. Right.
In my scenario, I actually faced that a couple of times, because initially when we proposed a solution, they kept on saying that, because they are the guys from the business and
Mhm.
they have more control over it. So they kept on saying, okay, you can't do this, you have to do it in a different way, and likewise.
Mhm.
But as a solution architect, you see that this is the proper way of doing it.
Right. Right.
So sometimes you need to pass that message in a strong way that
Mhm.
they understands what you're trying to say
Right.
and they agrees to it.
So good
Not that you're
communication
going to,
skills are also required.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's
Right.
not that you're going to force them that you should do it like this, but you have to present it in a way
Put it in
that,
a better way. Right.
yeah, in
Yeah.
a strong way
Because
so that they, yeah,
right, because you are only the person as a solution architect, you are only the person who also knows the technical aspects of that. The business people, they don't have idea of the technical aspects that are going to be behind that automation that they are trying to build. So I think, yeah, it becomes a very important responsibility of a solution architect with that point as well.
yeah.
Hmm.
And also from the business side, again, then
Hmm.
you will face a lot of technical people. Because if you are doing this project for another company, they will also have another IT team who
Right.
handles different things.
Right. Right.
So because they don't know RPA,
Right.
they might also ask whole lot of technical questions from you. What will happen to this? What will
Right.
happen to that? How to configure this, that, and everything.
Hmm.
So all those things you have to figure out what your answer is going to be.
Right. 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 Right.
So
Okay.
there are a lot of challenges, right?
Oh, right. Like after listening the roles and responsibilities of a solution architect, there are definitely many more challenges on him as well. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
I
not
think
to. Not. I'm saying that not to scare people that
no,
this is
no,
not a good
yeah,
role,
but
but
you are
yeah,
trying
they
to
have
put
to.
the point that it's not easy how much the word seems.
Yeah,
Right, right. Okay, so I think we covered good amount of information from you, and we were able to learn with your experience and your journeys and your. So again, this becomes like a forum where you learn from others' mistakes or others' experience. So yes, in the description you will find Lahiru's LinkedIn profile link. I think anyone who is watching this right now might already be connected, but still you can approach him anytime for for from him to take some guidance. And I know how much he has guided me and helped me as well in many things. Also, I will put the link of Lahiru's UiPath Connect, the components that you have published, so people can go through that as well, and maybe they come up with some good solutions which you have built, or maybe some different solutions. So I will attach that as well. And also, Lairu has his own YouTube channel. We all know that, where I think the major videos that he has uploaded is on document understanding, and I think you have covered all the use cases of document understanding till now. So yeah, that link will also be in the description. So please go ahead, watch the videos if you are someone who wants to explore document understanding and many other things, and also hit the subscribe button on his channel as well. Okay, Lahiru, thank you so much for accepting this collaboration and making this video to guide all the aspiring RPA solution architects. I am just so happy to record this video with you and learn from you.
and thank you very much for the awesome invitation. And because mainly I have seen a lot of videos that you do, and they are really inspiring, and there's whole lot of knowledge. So as soon as you asked this about this session, I was really happy to be a part of that. So thank you very much
Right.
for the
Thank you.
invite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.